Good morning, everybody. Joy is still not feeling quite well enough to do the devotions. She starts coughing when she talks a lot and so on and so forth, so I'm going to do the devotion today. And today we are in the book of Luke, chapter 14, verses 13 through 14. And I'll read the verse to you here in the little booklet you have. It's, when you give a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, and you will be blessed. Although they cannot repay you, you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous. And I go on to read the little side note here. When you have free time, do you always choose to spend it with a close friend? Do you ever go outside of your comfort zone and spend time with someone with whom you aren't so comfortable? Jesus makes the point that the woman who follows him does not only spend time with those who are her comfortable friends. Pay attention to the people of the world. Pay attention to the people the world pushes aside. Help them, be their friend. They may not be able to pay you back for your kindness, but Jesus will repay you one day. Count on it. I can only relate to this through a couple of things that I've done in my lifetime. And one of them was missions trips that I used to go on to Central America and Mexico. This was a long time ago, probably 30 years ago, but it's a prime example of this where you go, say your church or something provides the means for this type of thing to happen. You can volunteer for something like that. Obviously you have to pay your own expenses, but it is a way for you to honestly get out of your comfort zone when it comes to ministering to other people, because the trips that I went on were medical missions trips, and I was the pharmacist who took care of all the medications, the dispensing of those medications and everything to the people that we would take care of in El Salvador, for example. We did several things there. I went on a couple of missions trips to that country. And it was a rewarding experience for me as well as for the people that we took care of. We had doctors, we had nurses, I was the pharmacist, and I had a couple of girls that helped me. And we would prepare all the medications and talk to the mothers and all those kind of things. I had an interpreter that interpreted for me because I couldn't speak a word of Spanish. But anyway, you get to show the love of God by your act of doing this, because it's for their health, it's for their benefit, but you actually get to meet with them, talk with them, reward them with the medications and the treatments that we had for them. And also we would go to church services while we were there, and we actually would pray for nearly all the members of the church individually. And so I won't go into all the details of the whole thing because that would take way too long, but for me it was very rewarding because it, obviously we didn't get paid to go do this, we had to pay our own ways, but that didn't really matter because the experience that you have when you do that is much more rewarding than money can buy for you. So, I mean, I remember one church service that we had, there was like 300 people there at that church service. And all of those people came up to be prayed for one by one. And I stood in line and prayed, laid my hands on and prayed for 300 different people, which took some time to do. But, I mean, and the prayer gets very repetitious. I understand all that too. But anyway, it was, like I said, it was a very rewarding experience. The other experience that I had regarding this was in my business that I owned, which is a medical equipment business. I dealt with a lot of complex rehab clients. In other words, those who were paralyzed, those who obviously couldn't walk. Some patients were paralyzed from the neck down. Most of these were accident victims and so forth, whether vehicle accidents or whatever. And a lot of them were patients that were cerebral palsy patients. In other words, when they were born, they had an issue with somehow, some way, the oxygen level to their brains got interrupted for whatever reason or whatever, problem. But these children mostly were, there was a whole lot of complications with them because they would be, they had malformed bodies. In other words, everything was crooked, out of shape, whatever, from muscular problems. A lot of them were paralyzed from the waist down, they couldn't walk. Anyway, it goes on and on and on. But I would have, when I would go to their homes, and because I had to evaluate their home, I had to evaluate the patient, I had to measure the patient, I had to make sure that the equipment that I got for them would fit and it would preserve or take care of the problems that they had by the different things that we would do in different electric wheelchairs and so forth. Because the electric wheelchairs were very complex. I mean, they would tilt you, they would recline you, they would lift you, they would lower you. They would drive themselves. They would drive themselves with your breath if you didn't have any use of your arms or your hands or whatever. But they were very complex pieces of equipment. So anyway, I got to spend some time with those people. And the opportunities came up for different things, such as being able to pray for those patients. And there were occasions when I was able to actually pray. I remember one little girl that I took care of that I felt so much compassion for that I actually asked her mother if we could just pray for her. And of course, she said fine, that was no problem. And her mother actually prayed with me for her. And that's just one example. And I would, since I was healed of so many things, cancer being one of them, I had the opportunity to talk to them about the healing power of God and how you obtain that and so on and so forth. And I was actually able to give them a lot of information about that. Anyway.
I just wanted to say, oh, we can't even see ourselves. How do you talk when you can't see? Okay, here's the deal. I wanted to mention one other way. I was on the other side of the room trying to get Jerry to speak louder. His voice does not go into loud. And you can hear mine still sounds awful. But another way, I mean, if you don't have a lot of money, and if you don't leave home much, and if you're lonely, don't have someone to take you somewhere, or if you don't have a church, you can support things like the Salvation Army, or churches, if you know of them, that have, what's that our Church Victory used to have, this place that people could go. It was where there was clothes and food, and they could come there, and the church would give them food for their family and clothes for their family.
Food banks.
So you can always, if you support a ministry like that, you are helping other people because you're supporting these people who do minister to them. So that's another way, a really good way that you can help nowadays, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not difficult to do this kind of stuff. You just have to step out of your comfort zone and go do it, and
Yeah, it's pretty comfortable doing it from home, writing a check.
yeah, it is, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about getting personally involved in something. And there are outreach ministries all over the world.
Yeah.
That mostly in medical type situations where they go to treat, people overseas or whatever.
Right.
But there are a lot of places, even in the United States, that right now probably needs as much help as the people overseas.
There's one, I don't remember the name of it. It has a name. There's one that has doctors in it. And then there's one that helps the little children that are born with that. Their lip all split open and their nose, what's it, cleft palate. I mean, it's just awful. And evidently it's a very simple surgery and these doctors do it for free. So that's a really good ministry.
It is. There's a lot
Yeah.
of ways. If you
So there's
just,
a lot of ways to help other people without you going there.
anyway, that's all I have to say about that today. So, you got anything else to add?
Yeah, okay, dear ones, we're gonna go Christmas shopping. We'll both be back, or at least Jerry will tomorrow because it's Sunday. Love y'all. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.